Sheep and wool have been a big part of my life. I'm the daughter of a fell farmer from Ambleside, and I grew up with 1,000 sheep. My first pet wasn't a rabbit, a cat or a dog, but Larry the lamb, who was brilliant on a lead. I've still retained my connection with the Herdwick farming community as chairman of Rydal Sheepdog Trials, a role I inherited from my father. But I love Herdwick sheep, and I love lamb chops, and I'm married to a Welshman, so say no more. But more recently, it's been the versatility of wool that's captured my imagination, and in particular, the innovative way Cumbrians are using it and leading the way with British wool, whether it's as a fashion accessory, whether it's in the home, a piece of artwork, or as a way of generating debate. Wool, like the Herdwick breed, is durable and strong, so if you're in the market for a Herdwick handbag that'll last you a lifetime, you'd be really spoilt for choice at the moment. Take Alison O'Neill, a shepherdess, barefoot often, from Sedbergh, who has created her own brand of shepherdess bags. She's used wool from her own flock, woven it in Kendal, and made the bags up in Carlisle. Then there's Mandy Marshall. Now, she may not be a farmer, but she's ended up living in Beatrix Potter's marital home. And so she decided she'd decorate it with Herdwick tweed, and in the process, she fell in love with the fabric and she produced her own range of Herdwick bags. Two other Cumbrians, Adam Atkinson from Churchby and Ali from Ruskin Bags, while they may not live in Cumbria, they really are spreading the word about how brilliant Herdwick tweed is. Now for Adam, he has taken the Herdwick wool and he's searched the British Isles for the best craftspeople to produce his bags for him. And for Ali, she decided a premium brand like Herdwick tweed shouldn't sit next to any old leather, and so she's taken it to Italy and found some superb leather to sit alongside it. Now carpets are also another way in which Herdwick is leading the way. Now for Wordsworth, he had a Herdwick suit, and no doubt he walked the fells in it and it kept him dry and warm, but as far as the fashion designers are concerned, they've shunned it and have gone really more for the paler colour of wool and those that are softer. But Wools of Cumbria, who I came across at a recent home and garden show at Reged, are producing 100% Herdwick wool. They've worked out that natural tones are in, as are textures, and that it's high performance, it'll last a lifetime, and it looks fantastic. They've done the same with rough fell and with Swaledale. And what's more, they're putting 25p per square metre back into the Breeders' Association to help with its long term. Interestingly, the brand Hurdy, the Hurdy mugs, they too are trying to do their bit to help the long term of the breed. And they are working with Newton Rig to try and create a gene pool for Herdwick sheep. So we've been standing on wool and insulating our houses for hundreds of years. And we've also been admiring it as an artwork when woven wool was turned into tapestries and hung on the wall. But today, it's about the diversity, the variety and the innovation in home furnishing and in art. Some time ago, Sarah Dunning went down to see the architects, Glenn Howells. They were very busy designing Gloucester services, and she noticed that they had a gallery in which there was a flock of benches. On closer investigation, she discovered that each bench had been hand-knitted by a knitting group, be it from Devon or Bristol, Newcastle or Gateshead. Each had chosen their favourite breed of sheep, be it Jacob or Zorbles or Herdwick, and they'd created a special yarn, and then through knitting and felting, they'd covered each bench. And we thought, gosh, we would like one of those. So we created our own bench, and we challenged a local knitter, aptly named Marion Woolcott, to actually knit our very own bench out of Herdwick wool, which still takes pride of place in our gallery. This also proved a catalyst for our first wool exhibition at Reged, where we invited contemporary British artists to create wool installation. but there was a slight twist. Each of them had a strong social or political message to get across. This was craft versus activism, and using creativity to raise awareness of important messages. However, it was 2015 when we really got people talking about Herdwicks and wool. And that's when Ian Lawson presented his exhibition, Herdwick, a Portrait of Lakeland. 36,000 people visited that exhibition in just over 10 weeks. And the jungle drums even reached Clarence House and prompted a royal visit. So what was it about a photographic exhibition about Herdwicks and farmers and the landscape that could really cause such a stir and get people really interested in the Herdwick breed? This wasn't a chocolate box photography exhibition. Ian Lawson had spent 5 years studying Herdwick farming in Lakeland. Every aspect, every season, showing, gathering, clipping, lambing, he was there studying every aspect of it. He became friends with the farmers. They invited him to have lunch with them at the kitchen table and to meet them at the gate, at the fell gate, to go gathering. So when he was photographing his subject matter, he knew it in depth. And as such, he was able to create, through his photography, those critical moments. Arnold Lancaster with his prize-winning tup, or John Burkitt coming back to the farm, tired but satisfied after a month of lambing. The exhibition really did help raise awareness of Herdwicks, and at the same time, James Rebanks in nearby Matterdale wrote a bestseller, The Shepherd's Life. He now has 88,000 followers on Twitter, all interested in what he's up to as his daily life as a shepherd, and he's travelled the world lecturing on the subject. Digital is also proving a transformational thing for those people with their wool hobby. Take websites like Ravelry, millions of people using it to source yarn, patterns, and to share their latest project. And there's also numerous niche groups on Facebook, communities sharing their interest, inspiring new direction. It was only back in 1980 that knitting was considered very old-fashioned. Now there's 6 million people knitting and creating their own projects. Local knitting groups are really trying to inspire beginners to use local wool, and so are meeting in knitting shops. It's been modern design and new thinking that has helped transform the excitement around knitting. It's also considered a great way of de-stressing, a new kind of mindfulness. Take Saltburn Pier. It's considered to be the centre in this country for yarn bombing or guerrilla knitting. In 2012, during the Olympic year, nearly every single event was recreated through knitting and installed on Saltburn Pier. In 2016, the virtues of Yorkshire were also recreated through knitting. Yorkshire tea, Wallace and Gromit, rhubarb, it was all there. And so what's interesting about that, you might say? Well, the whole point about yarn bombing is that it appears in the middle of the night. The knitting groups remain anonymous, even against growing images on social media. So, watch out in Penrith in February, because guerrilla knitting is going to appear. Penrith is going purple, and it's all about raising awareness for polio. So Sheep and Wool will continue to engage the community through community art, through things like Sheep Fest in Sedbergh. It also will continue to boost the economy and bring fresh inspiration through things like Woolfest in Cockermouth. And it will continue to raise money for great causes like Go Herdwick and the In Aid of Calvert Trust. And here at Reged we'll continue to be amazed by the wonder of wool, and we'll continue to share the stories of innovation and creativity through our British Wool Shop, our festivals, exhibitions, events and films.